I said earlier this year at the Munich Security Conference, not every people gets a state. I'm a Scotsman, so I can speak with some authority on this. And I think the Palestinians had their chance of statehood and blew it. I don't think that chance comes back. I think after the opportunity was thrown away by Arafat, the opportunity that was presented in Oslo and subsequently, you just have to recognize that it's not going to happen. And no number of European governments recognizing a Palestinian state that clearly doesn't exist.
Include Australia in that.
It doesn't make any difference. In fact, it makes a farce of that process of recognition.
It's unrealistic.
Totally. There's nobody I met when I was in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv in February. Nobody, including my left-wing Tel Aviv friends, who still believes in a, quote, two-state solution. The response I got from pretty much everybody was, after October the 7th, you're going to reward them with a state. So I think that possibility has now largely gone in the region. And most people there recognize it. Quite why governments in Australia and in Europe think that they can make a Palestinian state come into existence by making bold declarations, I don't understand.
Well, that immediately raises something that really troubles me. Like you, I absolutely believe that a lot of this is because we've forgotten the Holocaust. I mean, it's extraordinary. You've had people on the progressive side of politics who participated in burning the place down, in protesting against racism, real and perceived, Black Lives Matter and all the rest of it. And we suddenly find that many of those very same people are actually at heart anti-Semitic. They've fallen for the oldest prejudice, ugliest racist form of racism of all, it seems to me.
It's been a very shocking thing for many people. Not so surprising to those of us who were living on university premises. One could see this toxic brew coming some time ago. It is a toxic brew because it combines different strains of anti-Semitism. There's the old Marxist-Leninist Soviet hostility to Israel, which really goes back to the Cold War. Then there's the Islamist anti-Semitism, which has been imported into campuses by the various organizations, often subsidized from abroad, that produce student groups in support of Hamas. And then there's just the old nasty bigotry that originated in the 19th century, if not earlier, and is still around and seldom far from the surface, especially amongst groups that protest their progressive bona fides. And this was a very toxic brew, but for most people it was invisible until October 7th. They couldn't believe their eyes when student groups, not only at Harvard, but at Columbia and at Stanford, came out in support of Hamas, the perpetrators of these hideous, unbelievably grotesque atrocities. That was a shocker. And it was, I think, a reminder to all of us of just how insidious anti-Semitism is, that it can morph, mutate, shapeshift, and turn up, of all places, on the far left. And then you're told by people on the far left, oh no, you're the fascists, and Israel is committing genocide. This is a really strange, topsy-turvy world in which people on the far left accuse Israel of genocide, when in fact the genocidal attack came from Hamas. And what Israel has done is to try to retaliate with the maximum attention to minimizing civilian casualties. It's very hard in Gaza. Anybody who's been there knows that Hamas inhabited tunnels underneath Gaza and used the Palestinian civilians as human shields. But if you compare the Israeli operation in Gaza with any similar military undertaking, actually the striking thing is the relatively low number of civilian casualties there have been. The term genocide has a history. It emerged from the Holocaust when Raphael Lemkin coined it and persuaded the new United Nations to make it a part of our system of international law. So to start using that term as a stick with which to beat Israel after attacks like those of October the 7th last year is completely bizarre to me and ought not to stand up to any slight scrutiny. What's baffling, really baffling to me, John, is that just in the last few days, there are young people in the streets of Australian cities expressing their solidarity with the leader of Hamas. I can't think of anybody who more richly deserved to be killed than that man. And they turn out to hear him praised as a martyr and a hero of jihad. Unbelievable.